Well, here we are again, Jennifer Wilner. I'm Bonnie Low-Kramen. I'm coming to you all live from my home in Ponte Vedra, Florida, from my office, which has been turned into a television studio. And I'll tell you why in the next few minutes. And hello, Jen.
Hey, Bon.
How are you doing?
We're good. It's fall-like up here in New Jersey. It's wonderful.
It's like a light switch that's what I remember from being up there. It's like September 1 hits, and then it's really soon that it's all of a sudden it's fall, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So bizarre.
So I was so looking forward to today's segment of Facebook Live, and we welcome all of our viewers and listeners who are coming in from all over the world. It's been so fun to connect with friends and family and colleagues from all over. Mm-hmm. When I was thinking about today's subject, it came to me pretty quickly about, what it feels like to be outside your comfort zone. Since March, it feels like every single day has been something new that's taken each of us outside of our comfort zone. I mean, we have been thrown into the air so suddenly by all of this change with the pandemic. My travel came to a screeching halt. All of a sudden, I'm here. And in fact, in Florida, where I've only been for 4 years, it has often felt like I'm still a tourist because I've been here so infrequently, that I've been traveling so much. How about you, Jen? What struck you about, being outside your comfort zone?
Being outside my comfort zone. Well, we talk about sometimes like graphic design things.
Well, and, we have the new website, and yes, I've been calling upon Jen to to stretch and get into some graphic design as we get new branding and new colors. And how are you feeling about that?
Yeah. No, I'm enjoying it. It's fun to, we learned something new about video the other day, which was, I was so excited.
What did we learn?
We learned about video, about putting a video into a social media post.
Oh, right. And that Canva, everybody seems to be using Canva. C. Garcia is asking for the website link. The website link, BonnieLowKramen.com, or you can also use BeTheUltimateAssistant.com. Hello, welcome. Welcome to our segment about being outside the comfort zone. Please put in the chat, what kinds of things have taken you outside of your comfort zone lately in the last few months? We'd really like to know that, just to know we're all not alone. When I think about this subject, look behind me. I have something that looks like a small TV studio. Hey, Julie, welcome from Hawaii. Happy you're here. We're talking about being outside the comfort zone, outside your comfort zone. So for the last 10 years, Vicki Sokol Evans and I have been teaching the Be the Ultimate Assistant workshops, and we're up to workshop number 45. So we definitely have done this, except that tomorrow we get to do something that we've never done before, which is to teach this 2-day class, 17-hour class, and do it virtually, do it over Zoom. And I'm going to be doing my part from this room behind me, where we've totally refigured and gotten professional lights and a professional camera. And it's to do something so familiar and for it to feel so unfamiliar is kind of mind-blowing. And, there's that feeling that happens in your body that's like, and then you bump into the thing that makes you feel like a little kid again, because it's like, oh my gosh, I have to think about this again, about how we're going to do the breakout rooms in Zoom. So it really is taking me outside my comfort zone because, we always want to do our best and deliver a great product. So I'm admitting that it's a little nerve-wracking thinking about having our class be on Zoom and to try to replicate a live experience right there, just as we're doing right now. I'm envisioning, Julie in Honolulu and and that we're just all together. Yeah. So there's. So we welcome any comments in the chat about what's taking you outside your comfort zone. What else I was thinking about were the subject of mistakes. Mistakes take us outside of our comfort zone. And, none of us intends to make mistakes. But, when I ask a class of assistants, how many of you have made mistakes? Everybody raises their hand. Well, hello, Emer from Dublin. Oh, Emer's a BTUAer.
Yeah.
And Marion is going to be joining us for our 2-day class tomorrow. Welcome, welcome. We are, and Heather Taylor. Oh, Bob Sanders is saying cooking. Yeah. So, Marion, that's totally cool. At our workshop, when we're in a room together, I say straight out, you are welcome to stand up. Emer knows this, standing, whatever makes you comfortable, because there is no learning that happens if you're not comfortable. So it's fine if you eat, if you drink, if you stand. It'd be nice to be able to see you on webcam, but you know what? We're going to have to
exactly
adapt. Victoria,
BTUA alumni get together right now.
Yeah, this is really an alumni. Emer, it's so good to see your name there. Emer was with us at our London class. So in the chat, please put down what puts you outside your comfort zone. And Emer, it's lovely to see your name too. So mistakes are one of those things that really throws us, because we never intend to make mistakes, but they happen. And what we have found is that it's just the most important thing to do, of course, is to own it, and figure out a way so it only happens one time, and then we move on, as opposed to dwelling in it and sitting in what I refer to as a puddle of discomfort. Jen, be sure to bring up any other out of the comfort zone chat messages we get, because I have a few more. I definitely have a few more. So some of you might remember, and Jen, you might remember the story I told. It was a couple of months ago about an assistant this was a success story where she was her manager was taking credit for her work. And back in November of 2019, I was coaching her and urged her to put some ideas in writing to her manager and her manager's manager about a promotion and about more money. She was not being paid properly. So she did put the ideas in writing, but it was excruciating for her. It was really hard for her to do that, but she did it. And because it was all rooted in reality and fact and the role she had been doing, by the way, for the last 10 years. So the holidays happened, and the result of that letter immediately was that she did get a little bit more money immediately, with a promise of more after the new year. Well, of course, the new year happens, and then the pandemic happened pretty quickly in early March. So everything was stalled and thrown up into the air. And in fact, everybody was asked to take small pay cuts. But she hung in there. Well, some of you may remember the part of the story where it was in June when layoffs and furloughs were happening in her company. The CEO had that letter that she had written way back in November. And it turns out that her manager, the one who had been taking credit for her work, became one of the people who was furloughed. And at that time, our assistant friend was now solidly in her seat, and there was no chance they were letting her go. Well, here we are in September, and there's a PS to that story. And boy, was this assistant out of her comfort zone. as she was navigating the pandemic and having a small child at home and just all kinds of situations, but she was really killing it every single day. Well, the story ends that because she was angling for a title change to senior executive assistant, and she just got it. And she just got another raise with a promise that when, the pandemic eases up a little bit more, that there will be even more money. So I'm so happy for her that at each step, back in November, when I asked on a scale of 1 to 10, how stressful was it to send the letter? And she was like a 12. And now in September, when she sent a new letter to, push forward for the title change and more money, it was a stress level of about 4. So these things are cumulative, and boy, was she out of her comfort zone, but it's a lot easier now. And I'm, just so happy for her.
Yeah.
We have, tell us, Jen.
This is a big one. So Marianne's biggest move out of her comfort zone was to accept a job, pack up my home, and move from Germany to California within 6 weeks. Ouch. All for just a job. Everybody thought I was out of my mind. Wow.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's huge. It's huge, right? But I'll bet you have no regrets, Marianne. And now Denise, you're starting a new job. Ooh, G Suite. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Learning curve is there. And G Suite is so different from Microsoft Office. And Vicki Evans will be able to help you. Denise, I think you're joining us at BTUA in October, and Vicki can help you with G Suite. And it's so important to get up to speed as fast as you can. And if there's no faking it, for sure. Dusty, what you got?
Biggest move out of my comfort zone is disagreeing with my leader.
And tell me what the number stress level it was on a scale of 1 to 10. And was there a good outcome? Help us.
Interview and process, fingers and toes crossed. Way to go, Heather.
Oh, yes, Heather, I know you're in an interview process. That's fantastic. Yay. Good luck. Let's all send positive energy Heather's way and Denise's way for her new job. Denise Buckelman, I'm pretty sure, they know that you're not a G Suite person, right? Like it's full disclosure here. And Marianne is sharing some ideas, Jen.
I wouldn't have regretted not doing it. The adventures, right. Yes, I love that attitude.
Yeah, I love that too. As I have one of those stories for myself, that after working with Olympia for 25 years and I could have had a job forever, I just couldn't not resign. I quit that job after 25 years. And wow, it was wrenching. There's no other word for it. It was wrenching.
Yeah.
Good, Denise. I'm glad they know. So Heather's got another one.
Tech space is so out of my comfort zone, terrifying but exciting. It is.
Yeah. But we have to get a hold of this. The best advice we have for all assistants is that we have to embrace the technology. Even me, like with all this stuff behind me. Thank goodness for Bob Sanders. Robert, thank you. This technology is so present in our life. And so we can't fight it. It's part of it. We have to embrace it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I spoke to another person this morning. I'd already decided. Let's hear from
wait, Dusty got back to us. Stress level was over 10. I was scared, but knew I needed to voice my perspective. She listened. We had a respectful conversation, and she appreciated my courage to speak up. Positive outcome, and it strengthened our partnership. Our trust level has grown, and she has come to me with other items to get a different viewpoint. Fantastic.
Dusty, and thank you so much for sharing that. Dusty's experience with the high stress level and then having a positive outcome, if I've heard that story once, I've heard it 1,000 times. And our leaders are depending on you to say the hard thing. I mean, nobody wants to be the messenger, and they have that saying about killing the messenger, but it's not going to happen if you have a leader who knows that the reason you're saying it is that you have their back, and that Jen, correct me if I'm wrong, what I've said to you, we've been together for 7 years. And what I said to Jen is, if you have something to say, I want you to hear, I want to hear it, even if you think I don't want to know. And that the only way I'm going to get angry or upset is if you have something to say and you don't tell me.
Right.
Is that true?
No, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean,
and you believe me.
I sent you, I was a little apprehensive about something that I wanted to do and needed to do, and sent you a video, and we had the conversation. So, but
that was 2 days ago. This wasn't a year ago. This was 2 days ago. And we're good. Let's hear from Dusty and then Linda.
Part of the credit to you, Bonnie. You helped me find my voice and have the courage to speak up and share.
Dusty, I'm delighted to hear you say that, because you've got a long way to go in your career. And these situations, like the assistant I was telling you about a little while ago, it's cumulative. That success that Dusty had, that other assistant had, it's easier the next time. That's why that assistant said that the stress level the next time was a 4. Dusty, have you had to do it again? Tell us what the stress level was. In the meantime, let's hear from Linda.
One of these days, I'm going to write a book, all because I could type. Because of this skill, I traveled the world, lived in 9 different countries, and visited more than I can count.
I know, Linda, you have an amazing story, all because I could type. I've always told you, I think that's a great title. So let me tell you what happened just this morning. I mean, you really can't make this stuff up. I mentor assistants and non-assistants one-on-one. Many of you know that. And I was doing that this morning. And this particular person is 60 years old, and she has a lot of experience, and she is, she's the real deal. She's educated, she's professional. And one of her newest colleagues has been a bully lately, a serious bully, very sarcastic, very negative, and she doesn't understand why. And she told me the stress level is a 12, and she is not sure how to handle it. And, we talked through, wow, is she out of her comfort zone? And at BTUA, those of you, I mean, Victoria, Marion, my goodness, Heather and Emer, this, that we must address these issues and be assertive in what we think and feel in order for any other person to know what's on our minds. And I don't know what she's going to do, but I certainly tried to lay out the idea that you can stay in the status quo. You can. There's nobody who has a gun to your head saying you have to do anything else but sit in the situation. But that does not feel satisfying, especially at a stress level of 12, when she has some physical manifestations of this problem. How better it would be to prepare for a meeting with this person over Zoom or socially distanced in a room, to request the meeting, to prepare for it, and to be specific about the things that, I've given this a lot of thought. I'm not sure you're aware of this, but when this happened last week, I really found that offensive, or it is very important that we work well together, and those kinds of behaviors and words are not productive, So I hope she does it. But just like the first assistant I was telling you about who wrote the letter, where it was excruciatingly hard for her to do it, I could tell with this woman today that it was so difficult to think about taking this guy on. And I have heard that hundreds of times. Seriously, we have to figure out ways to have this conversation because my goodness, we're living in a pandemic. Isn't life too short? We have enough stresses in our lives. We have to find support and mentorship to help us get out of our comfort zone. Jen, it looks like our helping you out here. I want to
stop. Victoria, yes, Bonnie helped me walk away from a job in which I was being bullied, actually verbally abused. I learned a lot from that experience, much healthier boundaries today. So glad to hear.
Bullying is a global epidemic. It is stopping too many of us dead in our tracks and traumatizing far too many. I've experienced it myself, and it's not okay with me. And anyone who deals with me is going to hear me talk about it.
Yeah. So Dusty's is really long. I would do it again and continue to do so. I still experience stress and sometimes get apprehensive when I disagree with something. Oh, I hear you. But I remember that my voice counts and I have a seat at the table. Since overcoming the disagreement with my leader, we're more comfortable with each other and have expressed more emotion collectively. And it's a domino effect, bleeds into our work, and I think we're producing better outcomes as partners.
Right. All of that is true. And Dusty, I would also add to that if you are interacting with your executive in front of other people, those other people get to benefit from watching the interaction. Just like, Jen and I have had people say, oh, it's so fun to see you and Jen talking with each other. We've heard that about Vicki and me when we do B2A, that it's cool to see us working together. I know it's kind of odd in the world to see women functioning really well and having a good time with each other and supporting each other and, really supporting. What does Emer have to say, Jen?
So Emer is sharing experienced assistants have a responsibility to pave the way for the future of our younger colleagues. We've come so far and go so much further. We're all in this together and can help each other. Absolutely.
I agree with that. And Emer, I would say that this is not, fantasy time. That's not an idea that is unreachable. Historically, for a long time, the role has been dominated by females. It still is. And we have insisted on being siloed because we fear sharing with others in fear of a lot of things, fear of if I help the other assistant too much, I might put myself in danger of losing my job. And so I better hold on to all this information. And what we know, what all of us hopefully on this Facebook Live know, is that that's not smart. That is so not smart. Ultimate assistants know that really the definition of an ultimate assistant is one whose office works great when you're not there. And that means you've shared passwords, you've shared information, you set other people up for success. That's what it's about. And that helps others get out of their comfort zone, get into their comfort zone, by watching. I love the saying, you can't be it if you can't see it. Right? You can't be it if you can't see it. We need role models. We need all of you to be walking this talk. So good for you, Emer. I'm sure you've had a really good impact on the younger assistants coming up behind us. Plus, we want this workplace to be better for our kids and our grandkids, right?
Absolutely.
So we have Cheryl. Cheryl's going to be with us these next 2 days too.
So Cheryl's out of her comfort zone lately. Is balancing 3 executives and their priorities. Oh, goodness. I'm struggling to tell 2 of them not right now because they've allowed a 3rd to be added to my plate. Working for 2 execs was harder than 1 because my responses were no longer immediate in a way they once were. Working for 3 is even harder as they have all competing priorities. Generally, I always know what is truly urgent, what is not. Any tips other than reminding them that I'll get to it as soon as?
Yeah. Cheryl, we'll be talking about that. It'd be the ultimate assistant tomorrow. It's actually one of the situations that we'll be dealing with on Friday. We're doing the class virtually from the setup behind me. So this is kind of a sneak preview to that. Here's the thing. I'll never forget the Saturday when I have a tray on my desk, and I'm going to take a risk here, and I'm going to move my webcam and show you that top tray right there. That's like my most urgent things. It's a lot, right? And I had that. I know it's this thick. It's like a phone book. I like paper. All right, sue me, right? I'm gonna get all this hate mail. Like, you love paper, I do. And I had that at Olympia's, and my system is that I had, the things that are burning up towards the top. Well, one Saturday, Olympia was looking for something, and she went through that top tray. And when I came in on Monday morning, she'd put Post-it notes on like a ton of things, and like it was all out of order, and she'd made comments, and she read. And at first I felt violated. I felt like, oh my God, this was my tray. This was like, and then I thought, no, I'm happy that she went through there. This is her life.
Yes.
This is her life. That's the thing, Cheryl. This is their life. You're three executives, and I'm pretty sure I asked you this question. I wondered if they asked you first before they gave you a third executive. So you can decide to share or not share the answer to that question. Many assistants, though, have two executives to support, and then they get an email or they get a text message saying that you have to now support somebody else without ever being asked. And that's just not a smart strategy in most situations. That aside, it is so important for all of the executives who assistant support to be in on your workflow. And for us to find our system, whether it's Mondays or Fridays or whatever day of the week you do it. Yeah, Cheryl, they didn't ask. They didn't ask. Isn't it a step that gets skipped? How do we assume that that's okay? And wouldn't it have been a much more interesting conversation to say, what would this do for you, Cheryl? Like, how do you think we should solve this problem, Cheryl, who is respected and valued at this company, supposedly? To not ask is disrespectful. It just is. We need to find a way to let all of our executives know what our workload is, so that they can understand, for executive number one, these are the priorities for this coming week. For two, it's this. For three, it's this. So that they have an overview. Every person is about themselves. We mainly care about ourselves. And therefore, the only way they'll care about anybody else, the other executives, is to see like, oh, Cheryl's doing that for this person. And for you to call the shot, and you have a right and an obligation, I would say, to make it known what your priorities are. So you could say things like what I used to say to Olympia was that, here are the priorities I see for this week. If there are some new ones, I suggest we move these things into next week. How do you feel about that? Like, again, it's her life. She gets to decide. Your executives need to decide. They've got a number of hours for you, Cheryl. And Cheryl gets to say, I'm human. I can do this much this week. What would you like me to do? What gets pushed to next week? All that to say, involve them in the problem. I like to think I practice what I'm preaching, Jen.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You ask me, do you have time to do this? Is this reasonable to it could be done by this day? So
and then I listen for the answer. Imagine that.
Yeah, I think I could do it.
Linda loves paper too. We've got a lot of paper lovers on them.
I love paper. And Bonnie, you actually taught me the trick, and I don't know why it was like, duh, but you have the paper, you print it, and then that's, instead of buying a notebook, you use the back side of the paper those papers you don't need anymore.
I make Robert a little crazy because I do recycle the paper, but I am planning a purge. He doesn't know this yet, but I am planning it in the next year.
Now.
Oh my gosh. So this has all been about getting out of our comfort zones. And my goodness, we've hit on so many great things about, managing multiple people and speaking up. Oh man, it feels like a reunion on this chat right now with B2A from all over the world. We launched the new website. For those of you who haven't checked it out, I hope you will, betheultimateassistant.com. We worked super hard on it. And, if you are needing training at your company, I'm now doing training, of course, for assistants, but also for executives with their assistants and executives on their own. So take your pick. I'll be happy to help you out there. Bob's saying he's going to hold me that perch. And then for our Be the Ultimate Assistant on Demand class, we're teaching B2A virtually live via this setup for a while. Our next live class, I think, is going to be October of 2021 in Houston. So our on-demand class, we're now offering a promo code, B2AOD, standing for On Demand 250, which is $250 off for the on-demand version. What the on-demand version is a series of videos where we put the live class on video, Vicki Evans and me. But in addition to that, it includes a monthly live Zoom meeting with me and Vicki, and it's 90 minutes, and we have a chance to do this kind of thing, but for 90 minutes, not a half an hour. So yes, B2AOD 250. What other news do we have, Jen? Help me out here.
What other news do we have? Oh goodness.
Did I cover it? Did I
I think you got everything. Yeah, I'm excited about the workshop Thursday and Friday.
Yes, Be the Ultimate Assistant. We are doing it. We've got assistants coming from all 3 time zones. Part of the challenge was that in the next 2 days, we were supposed to be in San Francisco. So, of course, you all know that's Pacific time. So, of course, we had to do the class in Pacific time. But we've got students and an instructor, me, in the Eastern time, and Vicki's in Central time. So, wow, it's a lot. Emer, tell others about the on-demand class, and we'd love to have you. Heather is saying, if you make it to the final round, question will be, is there a professional development training budget? The average training budget in the United States is $5,000 a year, which should be in addition to your salary and package. I just want to finish with the lesson that Cheryl's story shared, which is, if you want people to do things with you, for you, don't skip the step of asking them first. How leaders don't know this, and HR, and I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure they know this. In fact, I'm working on my next book, and one of the chapters is literally called Ask. Ask. It is, Cheryl, that problem is all over the world, 14 countries, 38 states in right now. It's a problem everywhere. Ask first. We're not saving, we might think we're saving time, but we're hurting the relationship when we don't ask first. So
absolutely,
that's it. Emer, great seeing your name, honey. Heather, good luck with the interview.
Yeah.
So happy to have all of you here. Jen, as always, thank you so much for doing this with me every Wednesday.
My pleasure.
And something's really exciting happening next week on Friday, September 25th. I have co-written an article for Executive Secretary Magazine, and they are telling me it is the cover story, and it is about compensation. It is called, what I named it, I don't know if they're going with this, but what they named it was How HR is Really Deciding to Pay You.
Yeah, we hear that.
We're dealing with money here. Got to deal with it. Got to talk about it finally. All right. Yeah. Heather's like, ooh, Heather. Yeah. Oh my gosh. We're not talking greedy here, folks. We're talking fair. How about fair? Oh, Denise has finished our class. Be the Ultimate Assistant on Demand is so great. Thank you so, so much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. And we'll see you next week, Wednesday.
Until next week.
Keep speaking up, Dusty, and all of you.
Yep. Take care, everybody.
Bye.